guys, it's Dom here from eSports News UK. Thanks for joining us for another weekly chat show interview session. This evening I'm joined by Alex Hirst, Kazehaya. He's the coach from Polite and Mature, who have just won the Ragnarok 2017 League of Legends tournament. Thanks for joining us, Alex.
Hi.
Cool. Okay, so Alex, maybe you can start by introducing yourself and telling us how you sort of got into esports and how you got caught up with Polite and Mature.
Alright, my esports history is like really long right now. I first started out like as a Call of Duty player. Like I played a bit of Call of Duty back in the day. Like went to Atlanta too, and then like I did a bit of management sort of thing in Call of Duty, and then I eventually left console and kind of moved to like PC, and like just slowly worked my way up in PC. So tried to be a player, realized I'm mechanically terrible. This is not gonna be the thing for me. So I was like, well, I've watched enough professional games. I know enough about the game. I'll teach the game. So I like did loads, like 2,500 solo queue coaching hours, and then I slowly just worked my way from team to team. So I did like a bit of time with like Team Chemical, did a bit of time with Mecha, did a bit of time with like the Scottish Warriors, like a lot of the kind of UK smaller organizations, a lot of the kind of like smaller time UK stuff. And then like at the start of this year, I was asked to like kind of set up a bigger roster for like Germany, and like it didn't really work out. But like in doing so, I met a few teams. We scrimmed against a few teams, and my theory is if you ever meet a team or play against a team, like add them. Just talk to anybody, add them, keep them around forever. You know, like you never know who's gonna be your big break. So I made friends with the PAM manager and PAM like top laner at the time. And like later in that split, they were like looking for a new coach. So like I was talking to her, I was like more or less joking around with their manager. You know, like, oh, if you ever need a coach, you just pick me up. And like she was like, oh, well, actually, you know, we're looking for someone right now. And I was like more for an assistant role. And then I was like, oh, I'll happily do it. So she asked me to do a few VOD reviews, did it, and then asked me to kind of like come joined as an assistant, worked my way up to head coach like within like a month or so, when I kind of proved I was better than my current coach. And then that's me, and then the PAM story continues from then on, and then we turned into Polite and Mature later on. So yeah,
so I was going to ask a bit later on, but as we've covered it, Alex, you know, you're a coach for this team in the Nordics, and you kind of bypassed the UK scene. Right? I say that you haven't really, like you say, you've been in some of those other teams, but you haven't played in the ESL Prem or anything like that. What are your thoughts there? Is that something you'd like to do in the future?
Like I don't think the UK scene's like bad per se. I just feel like there's just not enough investment into the UK scene compared to other regions. So like if I had the choice of working in any region, like I'd probably prefer to work in Spain over like Spain or Germany over the other regions, just because I know in the UK scene it's just like wages don't exist. You cannot do this full time in the UK scene. But like in Spain you can do it in the second division. You don't even need to be a first division team. You can do it in second division on like a proper wage and just do it full time. And then again in like the top German teams, you can do it again and just you can work full time. But in the UK scene, it's just not developed to that point yet. Yeah. But I mean, if it ever did develop, then I'd be more or less happy to, just because I think I'd prefer to work with because I know quite a few of the UK players now. Like I'm getting to know more and more UK players, UK orgs, UK coaches, but like, and I get on with a lot of people, but it's just like, it's not realistic, if you understand what I mean. Yeah.
We've already got people in the chat talking about how to spell esports. People are saying Capes.
Start a debate and everyone joins.
Yeah, all good. So just context on that. If you're watching this VOD on YouTube, Alex put out a Twitter poll, right, saying should esports be spelt with a capital S or a lowercase s, and The debate continues. It's going to go on and on and on forever, I'm sure. So one thing I wanted to ask about, Alex, was like what the Spanish scene is like and how Pam went from the Spanish scene, how they sort of broke away from the Spanish scene and sort of walked away from their contracts and became polite and mature and entered the Ragnarok tournament. Tell us the story sort of behind that, why that happened.
Well, like originally, like we were happy just playing second division Spain. We were aiming for like promotion to first division Spain, and like we had a roster which I believe like was quite a bit better than a lot of the second division teams at the time. Like I'm not gonna say like we were like miles better. We lost games still, but like I feel like on paper, like I think we were the only roster that didn't have anybody who was a diamond sort of thing, and so we did pretty well in the Spanish league, but they had a rule change in the Spanish scene, which didn't go well for our team. So it's the same as any other scene where you need at least 3 players from that nationality. So like Germany, Spain, Turkey, UK, like they're all the same. Like you need 3 players from the country where the league is based. Yeah. And we had that technically because our top laner Dan, he lived in Spain for 18 years, so he's Spanish, but he currently lives in the Netherlands. And they changed the rule where you need to live in Spain to be classed as Spanish. Right. But the weird thing about it is, say if you're German or you're British or you're I don't know Belgian, if a Spanish team pays for you to move out to Spain, you're technically classed as Spanish because you're living in Spain.
Yeah,
but
it's like the ESL UK rules as well.
Yeah, it's like the IP. Like
in the UK.
Yeah, but it was a case of like even though Dan lived in Spain for 18 years, he was less Spanish than the guy who would have just moved to Spain.
Right, I see. Oh, that's strange. So he wasn't based in Spain at the time.
No, but like he was Spanish but not Spanish. So we didn't want to lose Dan because like Dan won V9s a lot of games. Like we've had games where we've been like 10k gold down, 15k gold down, and then Dan's just split pushed and won the game anyway. So we didn't want to lose Dan. So we went through this period of time where it was like everyone kind of just like left, and everyone was like in this terrible mood. You know, like everyone like our mid laner went and solo queued and went from like Master 300 down to D1. Like our ADC, our bot lane just didn't play the game for like 3 days. And everyone was just in this kind of like bad mood where they just didn't want to play the game anymore, and they were just annoyed at this rule change that came out of Spain. Our jungler at the time managed to get like another offer from another team in Spain, and he went and played with E-Monkeys, and he's still playing with them. So when we kind of all came back together like a few days later, when everyone had just kind of chilled out a bit, just like let the dust settle sort of thing, like we thought, you know, we want to have like one last shot together. Like let's see what we can do together. So our support, who's Nordic, had another Nordic friend. You know, they all hang out together.
Yeah.
So we got a new jungler in, and we decided, you know, we'll go Ragnarok and do the best that we can do. Like the absolute best that we can do. You know, we were going in like, you know, like we'll get top 4, kind of take the money and go home. But we managed to kind of go in and upset a few teams and go kind of all the way. But yeah, we kind of went from that kind of happy Spanish players to depressed nowhere players to somehow winning Ragnarok. It was a weird time.
It's a brilliant story. I mean, so it all came about from this rule change from the Spanish. The Superliga Orange changed the rule where you had to be Spanish. You had to be based in Spain and Spanish. At least 3 of the players. Right, okay. So that's odd. When did they change that rule? Was that at the start of this year?
That was mid-season.
Mid-season? They made
mid-season they changed the rules.
Why did they make that change? Do you know?
Well, I don't know. Like I mean, there's speculation on so many things, but I don't know the actual reasons. So like, they made a rule change, and like at the time it was like horrendous for us, and it was just like, like the mood was dead between like in the team, because like they originally told us that we'd have to change a player, and then they told us like, you know, like Dan can get this like weird thing from the embassy which says, you know, like it's okay, and then they told us actually no, you are gonna have to change a player. So like the mood just kind of like died. Like my top laner came to me and basically said, you know, like I've lost the drive to play the game, and like and somehow we've bounced back
Yeah,
to a ridiculous level.
you got through it. What was I going to ask? Like, I'll have to ask the Spanish guys about that, because I've been planning to do an interview for a while, and I want to know like why they made that change. It seems a bit weird. Was it difficult to leave the Spanish scene? Were you locked into contracts with PAN?
Like as far as I know, like our top laner never really left the Spanish scene. Like he's like currently playing for Arctic still in Spain.
Yeah.
Because he got bought out of his contract by Arctic, and now he's contracted by Arctic instead. Our ADC managed to kind of like, he's used to things going wrong. So he asked for a clause in his contract beforehand where it's like, you know, mid-season, if I want to leave, I can. Our support was the one who was going to be changed anyway, so we kind of let him leave. And as far as I know, I think the mid laner walked away and kind of like just asked to kind of be removed. But like everyone else, I think got out on legitimate terms. But I think the mid laner mate, like as far as I know, it just kind of, he kind of got out okay. But it was a case of it, like his was just kind of like being asked to leave. Like just asking to leave.
Right, okay. So, talk us through those Ragnarok finals as well, because you were underdogs in the semi-finals, right? I didn't have a chance to watch through all the VODs, but I had a look at the final, the fifth game. Can you reflect on your like team's performance and how that final went for you guys?
Well, the semi-finals and final, like the final was, I'll start with semis. Let's go in order.
Yeah.
The semi-finals, like we went in, like, and we were playing against Kadril's team, which was like RM1 top, Caesar jungle, Kadril mid, Ritix ADC, and Treat support. And like as we were going in, we were like the second game that day. So like Veni Vidi Vici had just played against Solby, and the analyst desk and casters and stuff had, you know, like they'd said, you know, like Veni Vidi Vici are really favoured to win that game, you know, because Veni Vidi Vici are like ex-LCS, ex-Worlds players. Sorby are like Diamond 3, Diamond 2. And then when we were going into the second game of the day, they were like basically comparing it to that game, you know, like, so they were like saying, you know, it's gonna be like watching ex-LCS players versus Diamond 3s. So, you know, like we were really expected to lose, like no one even gave us a hope.
So how did you do it then? What was your game plan in that semi-final?
Well, like I managed to do like quite a lot of research on their team, and like I basically targeted out their jungler. So like their jungler like is one of these junglers that's like, you know, I'm playing meta even if I can't play it. I mean, if you look at like say Veni Vidi Vici's jungler in MaxiLoL, like he plays Nidalee even though Nidalee's not technically the top of meta right now. You know, like he'll pick Nidalee over like Graves just because his Nidalee is better. But like the jungler for Kadril's team, it was in like a position where he was like, you know, I'm gonna play meta, but his Graves was like really weak. So basically, like in the first game, like we banned out a lot of jungle, they banned out a lot of jungle, and we just kind of forced him to play Graves. So like we picked Rek'Sai and he picked Graves. Like I would rather had the Rek'Sai than the Graves, and it was just a case of he had like 0 impact in the first game, and like just like the team like just stepped up so much higher than like what they've ever done before. Like if you manage to like go back and watch it, it's a case of like it was almost like a perfect execution game. Like every lane won, the rotations were correct. Like there was a moment where we took like Baron or Dragon on one of them, recalled and bought like 11 control wards, and it was just like great moment as a coach to see when everyone's just buying the control wards. But like they literally just, it was full concentration, full like focus, and I feel like Hadriel's team did a like kind of disrespect a bit going into it, just like, you know, like they just assumed, you know, okay, this is gonna be a stomp, because they'd only played like 3 games so far in the tournament, because one team like basically didn't turn up against them, one team played one game, lost in 17 minutes, and then refused to play the second. So like they came up against us, like kind of disrespected a bit in the first game and managed to like just lose out to like better macro play. And then in the second game, I mean, like he's gonna be remembered for it for a bit. But I mean, Aaron one did some really, really stupid flash forward on Gragas towards the end of the game and through the game. So
we've got
like he made
go on, sorry.
He made like such an aggressive play and just like because we threw, they got a lead, they threw, we got a lead, we threw, and it just kind of went back and forward, and then eventually like he just kind of went really aggressive and Gragas got caught out, and then we managed to ace and win the game.
That sounds like a UK scene match, Alex. People throwing to and fro, you know. We've got some people in the chat here. I think when you was talking about saying you were underdogs, I think it was at that point saying best UK ADC has said he's lying, Sacco, and Torreos has said lies. I yelled Dan will win even before first game started.
Oh god. Well, I mean Dan's got a decent fan club out there. I mean, like people seem to love both him and his GP. As soon as the GP gets locked in, like the GGs just come out.
We've got here, Best UK ADC said there's a song, Flip This, and GG Miss has said we even made signs, and yeah, could you tell us more about that song? Do you know what that?
Well,
have you heard that?
Yeah, like Dan has a fan who's written a song about him. Which I mean, do you know the song "Soft Kitty, Warm Kitty," like from Big Bang Theory?
Oh,
that song.
I can't remember how it goes, but I remember watching the episode.
Yeah, it's that song, but with the word Dan where you would put kitty.
Right. Okay. I guess it'd be too much for me to ask you to do a quick rendition of it, Alex.
I'm all right today. No.
Okay, all right. GG Miss is saying, "Sing it, Alex. Sing it in caps."
I'm all right.
Okay, cool. I won't push you anymore.
Oh, okay. He's putting the lyrics in chat for you. There you go.
Okay, cool. Soft Dan, warm Dan, legendary Dan. Oh, okay. Right, okay. We're digressing now. The song sounds very good, guys. Maybe I can, if there's a link to it, or as someone recorded it, I can put it in the link to the YouTube VOD when it's done. If you guys have something, just message me. So yeah, that was the sort of semi-finals then. What with the finals, was that more of a? Well, I mean, it was still a 5-game series, right?
Yeah, the finals were stressful. That's the best way to put it. It was stressful, because the first game, like we got stomped by MaxiLaw's Nidalee. Like he was like 7-0 at like 10 minutes. It was just like we got stomped by the Nidalee. And let's just say that Nidalee was banned out for every game after that. Because like the first game, we wanted to give them, you know, like their stronger picks. So you know, we let the mid laner play Jace, we let MaxiLaw play Nidalee, we let them play the stuff they want to play.
Yeah.
So we can see how much they can do with it.
Yeah.
And then, so like we more or less aim to learn more from the first game and kind of risk losing it, knowing that, you know, like we've learned a lot from that game, so we don't have to kind of ban out stuff blindly for the rest of the series. So we don't have to ban out his Nidalee saying, you know, like he could do a lot on it when actually he couldn't, if you get what I mean. So we at least see it first before we ban it.
Yeah.
So the first game we kind of got stomped by the Nidalee. The second game, like our jungler Ploxy like managed to go absolutely off with Lee Sin in the early game, and we were running like Cogmore. So you know, when you win early game with Cogmore, the game's kind of yours. Like with Cogmore, Lulu, like once early game's over, like it's just a case of if you're ahead, then it's hard to lose at that point, unless you like really massively play the comp badly. The third game we got stomped. I think there's a video somewhere, like, do you know LoL fails of the week?
Yeah.
There's a highlight on there of Bwipo getting a triple kill with 1 Nautilus E against us. Yeah, like Graves got a collateral damage ultimate across the entire team, and then Bwipo E'd once and got a triple kill.
Oh my
goodness. So that's on the fails of the week highlights.
What is that in that was in the grand final? Was it?
Yeah, that was in the grand final.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And at that point, when it happened, were your team behind, or were you worried?
Yeah, we were already like losing. Like the first like 3 games, it was like they dominate, we dominate, they dominate.
Yeah.
You know, like they were very back and like just like back and forth, sort of like, you know, like one team just control wins, the other team control wins, the one other team control wins.
Yeah.
But when it came to the 4th game, like stuff got interesting because they were 2-1 up, and then in the 4th game they dominated the early game again, like, and they ended up about 10k gold up. Like I think it was like anywhere between 9 and 11,000 gold up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the casters were like, you know, it's over. You know, like I was sat in a room next door, and like one or two of the analysts' desk were people in there, and they were like, oh, you know, it's impossible for them to come back now. You know, it's over. You know, we'll have to start getting ready to go through and just congratulate them.
Yeah.
And then they did Baron, and like I mean, you could nickname him Dignitas at this point. like they did Baron, and it didn't go well because. Like, I'm not sure the reason why, but MaxiLol basically, like, ulted because they were like, you know, we don't want to go for a 50-50 smite.
Mm-hmm.
So they held the Baron at 1,500 health, and we're like, you know, we're going to do something to force them off and not go for this 50-50 smite.
Mm.
But MaxiLol, like, ulted on Rengar and basically leapt out of the Baron pit. Like, he jumped out of Baron pit.
Mm.
And then there was, like, a really, really good Lucian culling to kind of get the Baron down to, like, 1k HP. And then, like, Ploxy leapt in, and then, like, Q Smite stole it with Kha'Zix.
Yeah.
And then we got, like, a decent fight after. It was, like, 4 for 4. So it was, like, kind of a fair fight. But then, like, we got a ridiculous another team fight after it, and then another good team fight after it. And we went from, like, being, like, out of the competition to coming back and winning the game 4.
Mm.
I mean, I remember like with that Baron steal, there was like 4 or 5 of us sat in the room next to us, and like I think everyone just stood up at the same time, and there was like 2 chairs on the floor, sort of thing, you know.
Yeah.
It's such like a kind of hyped moment.
And that was the pivotal moment. It sounds like to me that it sort of it gave you guys the confidence to turn around that 2-1 deficit to win 3-2.
Yeah, I mean like it. When you get destroyed, like when you get dominated, so the first 3 games, when you get absolutely dominated and destroyed, it's like, right, okay, you know, we lost, fine, whatever, go next game. Mm. When you're 10k up and you lose, like, I mean, as anybody in Silver will know in solo queue, when you're 10k up, 15k up, and then like you lose a game, like it's soul destroying. Like, I mean, you take the rest of the day off of solo queue. Unless you want to lose a few more games, like it tilts you so hard, like from being so far ahead and then losing. So like we went into the 5th game like with like some triple scaling comp. You know, we were just like, you know, we hold out to 35 minutes and we win. So like the casters were sat there, they were like, you know, oh, you know, they're giving away a free tower here, they're giving away a free tower there, but in the meantime, you know, we're like massively pushing on the opposite side of the map just to kind of like, we'll give up towers, you know, we can give up first 3 towers, we can give up second tier towers, as long as we can survive in that game until 35 minutes, like we win. When you have like Ezreal, Gangplank, Vladimir, we win, like at 35 minutes onwards. So they literally just like they went behind early again, but like managed just to hold out, do exactly what the comp needed it to do. And then got to that 35-minute mark, and it was just like Vladimir was insane. It was just like triple kills, like just entire HP bars disappearing, and just yeah. So we went from at death's door to like winning it somehow, and we're now going to be the Nordic Challenger Series qualifier team.
Yeah, you bring me on to my next question, really. You know, it's great that you guys have qualified for the EU Challenger Series qualifiers. How do you think the team will do there realistically? You know, what are your aims and ambitions in the CS qualifiers?
Well, it's hard to say. Like, I mean, we went in against Caedrel's team as like, you know, like huge, like, you know, like these guys are going to get stomped. And then the team stepped up. And, you know, like, we got backed into a corner in the 4th game, and, you know, like, the team stepped up. You know, like, there was games where, you know, like, throughout Ragnarok, you know, like, Dandan's, like, probably, like, our technical star player because he is the one that will 1v9 more than anybody else.
Yeah.
But, like, there's games, you know, like, where he doesn't have as much impact. And then Like, so Kakan will step up, Darkseid will step up, like Quickstep will step up, like someone else on that team will step up when they're needed to, or the team as a whole will step up and play just so much better, like than what they should do. And it's like, it's games like that which makes it really hard to predict. It like I'm usually really honest with my teams and stuff like that. Like, I like how realistic like I think we can do. And it's just a case of, because we're this kind of team that like can really overperform when put pressure on, it's hard to say whether, you know, we're going to get completely destroyed by certain teams going into it, or whether we can actually like step up when the time comes and actually manage to win.
Yeah.
So like, I'd say just watch and find out. I mean, I'd like to say, you know, like we're gonna go on win it really easily, but I mean, it's not gonna be easy, especially not this year. Like, with the likes of Kasing's team being around and Nerve being around, and like other teams as well. Like, looking at open qualifiers, like there's a lot of good teams that are gonna be coming into it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just a case of just, it's gonna be like on the day, in the moment, how well can we play? Because I think if we all play at top quality on the day, I feel like we can upset some teams. But I mean, if we're a bit underperforming that day, then we don't really stand much of a chance against certain teams.
And what are your thoughts, Alex, on MnM Gaming, the UK League of Legends champions who've qualified for the CS qualifiers? You know, they put out an announcement the other day saying that the Augurs bought the spot from the players, and the players will be representing MnM, because I know last year the players, there's some problems and things that they ended up playing as team last and their roster changed, but they've got this roster together, and for me this roster looked pretty damn good in the ESL Prem last split. They didn't finish top, they finished second in the league in the group stages, but then they won the final. But in those group stages they had roster changes and things like that. Now they've got this good, I think, a good like cohesive roster. They get along well with each other in the game and everything. They seem pretty good. What are your thoughts on them?
Well, they're another team where it's hard to say, because like as far as I heard from the UK Prems, I know they didn't practice much together during the actual Premierships itself. I know they were a bit on and off with it, but but as standalone players, like as solo queue players, you know, they are all like high elo players, all standalone like good players.
Yeah.
But like I know they're like boot camping or something like that in like Leicester. So like with like a proper practice put in and like proper time put in, like I feel like they can do something. But it's so hard to say, just because like, so if you look at last time when it turned into Team Larson, like the roster changed so much like 2 days before.
Yeah.
Like they managed to win, I think, like 1 game out of the 5 games like that were put in front of them.
They won one of the first, and then they sort of capitulated.
Yeah. But like, but it's a case of, you know, they changed rosters like 2-3 days before the game, like the games. So I mean, like if a roster like can like still take a game in CSQ when they changed the roster like 2 days before, now that they're going to be a solidified roster with like quite like at least a month's worth, like a few months worth of practice in them, you know, like I feel like they can do something. But it's just a case of like on the day, like again, like what can they do? Because they're like, the UK scene's like still like so improving against other regions. If you know what I mean, like, because I know a lot of the UK's like stronger players or like better players, like the kind of like players that win the Prems or like place highly, like have kind of left the UK.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's kind of like hard to say like what the actual best UK team could do when, like, you know, like a lot of their kind of players are like because the best UK players that have left the UK Prems are not like, say, playing on the best teams in other regions.
Yeah.
So if you look at Deadly, he's playing on like, I think they're last in second division Spain, like on the E-Monkeys there. And I know like Furion like played for Baskonia for a while, but like I don't think he had the best spell at Baskonia. And before that, again, he was playing on E-Monkeys with Deadly, like, and that's second division Spain, where like they didn't do too well. So like, I mean, against the Spanish teams there, they didn't do amazingly. But I mean, as a full UK team, I mean, it's another one where it's just interesting to see.
Yeah, sure. We've got some more questions coming in from the Twitch chat here. GG Miss has said, Alex, will you buy more hairspray for qualifiers? And Best UK ADC has said, Alex spends more time doing his hair than he does coaching. Lol.
That's for like 5-10 minutes.
And Best UK ADC has said, well, they're asking now, what colour blazer will you wear? And is a tie too much?
Oh, this was the lead up to Ragnarok finals, because like I debated with people which blazer I should wear for the finals.
What did you go for in the end?
I wore the black. I was like, I'll just go full serious and just go black.
Oh,
I was like,
fun.
do I wear grey, blue, or black? Like grey's quite casual, blue's kind of in the middle, and black's like, you know, like I'm here to win. So I went with I'm here to win.
Yeah.
But I had that issue with hairspray and planes as well, so I had to buy hairspray in Stockholm, which wasn't fun.
Okay. Well, do you know what? For me, there aren't enough black blazers in esports. The casters and that, they all seem to be sort of browns and greys and things like that, you know. Anyway, digressing again. Thanks for that, chat. One thing I wanted to ask as well, you've mentioned, if you guys do get knocked out of the qualifiers, what's next for Polite and Mature and for yourself?
I'd say this is the biggest issue with, like, say, us and Ragnarok and like the Nordic region. Like, if you look at Spain, you look at Germany, you look at France, and even the UK as well. Like, you have this kind of bonus that you have a league to drop back on. You know, like if you don't win in CSQ, you know, like you go play back in your league for the next like few months. You know, like Spain's league goes on from like I think it's like February through to like June. Like it's like one of the longest national leagues that runs. So like their league starts again in like I think it's like July, August or whatever, and then runs until like November. So like that league runs on forever. Whilst like the Nordic region is like a one-off tournament. So like for us it'd be a case of, you know, like we'd have to like scrim all the time. So like if we don't do well in CSQ, like I feel like the most likely scenario is like one or two players may go to a Spanish team and another player go elsewhere, and it'd be a case of just splitting up. Because every other team in like every other like European team in CSQ, like they have leagues. I think the only other team that qualifies that like, well, there's the open qualifier teams obviously, and like I'm trying to think, Poland has a league, England, like UK has a league, Spain has a league, France has a league, Germany has a league. I think it's literally just the Nordic region, which is just a cup. So we have like nothing to fall back on where it's like, you know, we can get like a monthly wage for playing here because, you know, we'd just be scrimming in private and just not really getting publicity for people because the Nordic regions like still need to develop their own league. Because I mean, like if you look at regions that don't have CSQ spots, they still have leagues, but the Nordic region just doesn't. So it'd be sadly a case of splitting up. So that puts us in that position where it's like CSQ isn't just like playing for money, playing for fame, playing for like Challenger Series. It's also like, you know, playing to stay together.
Yeah.
Because like everyone gets on and everything. So it's like if we want to stay together, we have to win.
It's pretty much all or nothing, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's pretty much been that ever since we left Spain.
Yeah. Well, good luck to you guys. One thing I wanted to ask, Alex, you said to me before this interview, you know, that there was sort of no big egos in your team, and I think that's a positive. You know, it's been one of the criticisms of UK esports that there's too many egos, or you know, a handful of egos that get sort of blown out of proportion and everything, and it can cause problems. What are your thoughts there? You know, and on the UK League of Legends scene in general, you know.
I mean, I watched like I think like I say about half of the games from the UK Prems this time round, because I mean like at the time I was kind of still like working a bit with UK, but then also moving to Spain at the same time, like to move into like working with the Spanish league at the same time.
Yeah.
So I watched like half of the games this time. Didn't watch as many as I have done in the past, but like I think with the thing with egos is I think you get egos in every region. Like there's always that player in like the kind of top 3 teams where it's like, you know, you kind of know he has that ego, that kind of bad personality, but you know he's good enough, so it's like it's fine. And I feel like you get egos in any region, in any kind of tournament. I think like we've kind of got like lucky sort of thing. Like I would say lucky, like we've kind of got just that kind of good roster where everyone's like kind of driven. Like every player is like just driven to improve, driven to play.
Yeah.
And there's no one where it's like, you know, I think this is, you know, like I think I'm better than everyone else. I mean, like Dan with his fan club kind of gets a bit carried away sometimes, but you know, I mean, like Dan on the day still knows, you know, like there's people that are like on paper better than him, and people that like should beat him, and like that's like I think that's the biggest thing. I think all our players like know that because like they've played in like the Spanish league and German leagues and stuff like that, where like you know there's a lot of big teams, like they know that there's opponents against them that can beat them. You know, there's players that are like rated higher than them. Whilst I think with like the UK scene, because like I think the UK scene struggles to scrim as much against like the kind of bigger teams from other regions, and like especially for like the top two, like so like MnM and stuff like that, because MnM's like probably got the best possible UK players on its team. It's like they're in that scenario where it's like they probably have higher egos just because, you know, there's not that many people they are going to play against that will beat them until CSQ. Whilst like our players know there's a lot of people out there that can beat them and like are better than them, so they need to like work together to win. Yeah. If that makes sense. So like yeah, but like regarding like the UK league as a whole, I feel like it just needs development. Like generally, I just feel like it needs development compared to other regions, because like other regions are slowly getting like more and more organizations that are investing in, more and more like sponsors that are investing into the league. So like Spain's now sponsored by Orange, the phone company. Yeah. And like the German teams, like I mean, like Euronics is like a decent sized company. Like AEQ has like really good backing. Like financially, like so does like Mysterious Monkeys, like and Alternate as well. Like they all have like good financial backing behind them, and it's the same like if you look at First Division Spain, I mean we have like G2 Vodafone, we have Giant second team, Orange Spanish team, then we have Valencia. You know, like there's a lot more bigger kind of company names in there. Whereas just like their financial backing is so much higher than like the organizations of the UK, and I feel like the UK just needs like kind of like once they start getting like companies that like are investing into it and putting more into it, like it will grow and it'll attract more and more attention, and like I feel like as the money goes in, like the quality of play improves as well, because players get more interested and put more into it. You know, like if it's a case of, you know, like no team pays in the UK, you know, like no matter how much you play, you're going to go into a team that doesn't play. Whilst if it's like, you know, the better teams pay and the worst teams pay like less, you know, like you want to improve, you play to improve and stuff like that.
Do you know what my view on this as well is? Just, you just made me think of this, that in the UK we do have sponsors and things, but they seem to go for the actual tournaments. Yeah, like the ESL, they'll sponsor the ESL Premiership or Gfinity, whatever tournament, or Insomnia, the True Silver Championship or whatever. But they don't seem to put enough investment into a UK team to become a G2. Do you know what I mean? An MnM Vodafone or something. We haven't seen any of that. Maybe we need that to happen for a sponsor to say, do you know what? I'm going to put investment into an actual team rather than a tournament. But the brands I've spoken to, for whatever reason, they seem to I get the impression they see that there's more value in sponsoring a tournament, because if it's a team, if something goes wrong with that team, they don't have a good return on investment. If it's a league, the league will still continue regardless of if there's a problem with a team. Do you see what I mean? Yeah. I don't know why that is in the UK, but
I think the biggest thing, like in the UK mainly right now, is it's the fact that because like none of the teams are sponsored as highly as like other regions, if you sponsor a cup or a tournament in the UK, every UK team goes for it. Whilst if you're going to do that in Spain, like, you know, every Spanish team as they currently stand would, like, you know, they want something back from it already, because they're already developed to that point. So like in the UK, I feel like you can get away with, like, you know, like I'm going to invest into this tournament, and I know that every UK team is going to just like kind of come along and compete because they kind of need stuff back from a tournament.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, you don't see like, it's like say Insomnia, like, I mean, like any like kind of European team can go to Insomnia and win it. I mean, like the Unicorns went in like Insomnia 51 and won it before they were in like Challenger Series LCS. Like, so like any team from Europe can go to it, but like because you know they've got this backing already, they don't need to. Like they've kind of gone past that point.
Yeah.
But like the kind of investment like you get out of the tournament itself isn't as high. So like I know UK Masters like the like prize money is a bit higher than UK Prems, but like if you look at the Spanish league, like Orange, like as far as I know, will give you like kind of monthly sums out, and like you know like you get money for like just being in first division. Like you would for like if you're in LCS, you get money for just being in LCS. Like you get money like for just being in like kind of first division Spain.
Yeah, I
like,
must do an article on the Spanish scene, or like the actual intricacies, the actual amounts and things like that, because I think it'll be interesting to compare.
Yeah.
To the UK,
Plus,
you know?
as far as I know, like viewership in Spain as well is a lot higher. Like, I think the Spanish viewership's like really high, just because like I'm not saying like the casters are worse in the UK, but I mean Spain has eBay, and if you watched All Stars. And you watched the 1v1 tournament at All Stars, and you saw that crazy Spanish guy.
I've seen some of his casting. Yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
It's really entertaining.
Like he casts Spain, and I mean, like I don't understand Spanish, but I would rather watch him like kind of cast a tournament in pure Spanish than even some of like the Challenger Series casters cast Challenger Series. I'd rather listen to a language I don't understand just because he's so energetic and so goes for it. But I would like listen to a Challenger Series caster just because like he's just really good at what he does, and it makes the Spanish league like even better because it just makes the viewership's really high. People want to watch, and like the quality of team and the quality of play improves as the kind of splits go on. The quality of play improves as well.
Yeah.
Just because it's like you know like as you're kind of getting paid to do it full time, like the quality of play is getting better and better every year, and then that's making CSQ better and better every year. But the only downside is like the teams that aren't being paid to do it full time, so like the UK scene are like a lot of like Ragnarok teams and stuff like that. Like they're gonna like slowly start to struggle. I think like maybe not in this CSQ as much, but like I think in the next few CSQs, like so like say like the one for next spring or like summer after that. So like say in a year's time, like I think if the UK scene doesn't get an investment soon, they're going to start to struggle like really hard in CSQ against you know like because Spain will have been all their players will have been doing it full time for like over a year and a half, like 2 years. You know like they will be full time whilst every like UK player has a day job and then plays, or has uni then plays, or school, college, whatever and then plays.
I know what you mean with the casting. I think England, the UK produces some fantastic casters that have gone on to do big things. You know, over the past year we've had Excoundrel and Medic, who was previously known as Sona, go and do bigger and better things in and around Europe. And we've got Munchables, who's really good on the UK Prem. But I know what you mean.
He went off and did IEM this year, didn't he?
Yeah, there was a few UK casters. Desertu and a few others were out there. That was good. But I know what you mean about the Spanish commentary. I'm kind of like that with football as well. I probably couldn't watch a whole game, but when you watch a highlight and you watch Messi score a goal or something and it's the Spanish commentator going mad, I don't know if I guess they don't have goals in League of Legends, so they can't do what they do in Spanish. You know, like, they do that gol thing, which is ridiculous.
eBay does it. eBay finds a way. Yeah, like he finds it. I can't remember what he shouts, but he finds a way to shout something whenever something else happens. Like if Kledult, he does the sound. Like if certain things happens, he's got like I don't know if you saw when he announced Uzi into like the 1v1s, but he did like the Twitch rat-a-tat-tat noise, and like he does that in the middle of games just randomly. But there's
cool.
there's videos on YouTube where eBay casts marble races.
What's that?
Like literally, it's literally just people let like marbles go down a track.
Oh my god! So an actual physical thing, not
like it sounds really boring, but because eBay is casting it, it's the most exciting thing ever.
Oh, I'm gonna have to Google that now.
He goes absolutely insane. Like just over a few marbles going down a track. Like I saw one which was like it was like 2 marbles going against each other competing around a track, and it was like each marble was labeled as a country, and like the one that was labeled Spain, like he went insane. like he just like massively just cheered for it and overreacted to it and everything. But yeah,
maybe they should bring marble racing to Insomnia.
just to have eBay come and come and cast it.
Why not? So last few questions then, Alex. So I know you were saying that Mac, the coach at Bulldog, apparently had a team take part in Ragnarok as well. You know, I wasn't aware of that. How well did he do there? You know, can you tell us a bit about his team? What it was like having another UK coach in the same tournament?
Well, I've known Mac. I'd say like since like kind of the start of the year. I'd say, and like. I've helped out a bit. Like I know, like when they've been setting up their new roster now, it's been announced now and everything. But like, I helped find him like a mid laner and stuff like that. And I went along to their trials, like their first trials, and like we did the drafts against each other. Like and like we spoke about the team together. I helped out a bit with the Bulldog roster just in like my spare time, and like we talk about different teams, and it's nice to have a second opinion and stuff like that as well. So like we get on like fairly well, like but we'd never actually like competed against each other with teams. We'd never like had like our teams compete against each other like on a competitive level. I don't think we've even like properly scrimmed against each other really either. So like it was like a kind of like almost bragging rights a bit between us. But like we played them in the 3rd round, and like his roster was like fairly strong. I'd say like the left side of a bracket. If you've looked at OQ, the left side of a bracket is really stacked in open qualifiers right now, and it was the same. It was the same in Ragnarok as well. So like, say if you were gonna pick the 5 best teams in Ragnarok, I'd say 4 out of 5 of them were on that left side of a bracket. And like sadly, like Mac's team was one of them. We were one of them, and then like Buff Jinx was one of them as well. And like we had to play Mac's team in like the 3rd round. So they had to go out like sadly like really early when they, like I think like if they were on the right hand side of the bracket they could have done a lot more, but we came up against them like fairly early on, but it was like still when it was like a 6-ban system.
Right.
Yeah, like I know a lot of players and a lot of coaches and stuff doesn't like the fact that it's a 6-ban system for the first few rounds of open qualifiers Ragnarok, but like we played against them underneath a 6-ban system, and it finished in like a kind of fairly okay 2-0, but he'd set up a team like say like 3 weeks before sort of thing, so the level of practice was so different because like I mean we played together for like 3-4 months in Spain.
Right. Yeah.
So like we got like quite a lot of practice underneath us compared to like a lot of the other teams that we came up against in Ragnarok.
Sure. Alex, we're coming up to the hour mark, so I'm going to ask you if there's anything else you'd like to add, but I'm also going to ask the Twitch chat if you have any questions for Alex. Now's your chance to send them in. I know it's usually silly questions, but serious questions are welcome as well. Any questions, now's your chance to get them in, to get them immortalised on this video. But is there anything else you want to add, Alex, if any of them are coming in, anything we might have missed?
I don't think there's too much, no. Like I just feel like it's just a case of watching Challenge Series qualifiers now, just kind of seeing how like teams do. So like MnM will be like the first like proper like solidified UK team in like since like I think Misfits. So like Misfits went on and won it, so we get to see how well MnM will do it, how well they'll do, and then like again how well we can do as well. How if we can step up on the day. Yeah,
sure. We've got a question here from Ninja Roni who's asked Alex, where do you see Pam in 2 years?
Pam.
I don't know if he means the original Pam by that, or
I was about to say like which
he means
roster.
You guys.
If he means us, then depending on CSQ. If we win CSQ, then I mean like probably still in Challenger Series. I've probably dropped out again by then. But yeah, I mean, like, I feel like we want to go as far as we can. So like our roster, it's just a case of like, let's go as far as we can possibly go.
Yeah.
You know, we upset in Ragnarok. We like, you know, like did more than we can. If we do the same in CSQ, you know, then like God knows what will happen in CS. Because I mean, like if you look at say the Unicorns of Love, like they got into playoffs in Challenger Series by a minor scrape. And then in playoffs to like LCS, they massively upset. And then they went to IEM, they beat TSM. And then they went on and won, like, they finished second in that EU LCS split straight after. You know, you get this momentum from, like, kind of one tournament win, or, like, one game win. You know, you get this momentum and it just carries on and carries on. So, I mean, right now, we didn't, besides from a final, we didn't really lose a game in Ragnarok. So, you know, but I feel like Benny Vidivici were a lot more experienced on LAN as well than we were.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of our players, like, are very experienced online, but not as experienced on LAN. Whilst, I mean, they had, like, you know, Touch went to Worlds, Vardags was in LCS for a long time. You know, they're kind of a lot more LAN experience than we did. So, we lost maps to them, yes, but let's just see where the kind of train stops, you know, like, it's still going for now. Let's hope it carries on forever, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a good answer. Scottish Warriors have asked, how much would you charge for a coach in a team?
Tell them to PM me.
Okay. PM, please. When we've got Best UK ADC, when are you going to announce me as the new PAM ADC?
God.
Sorry, Alex, for these questions.
No, I think I know all of these people, so it's fine.
Okay, cool. This is a good one. GG Miss, what have you learnt from the games you've lost?
Well, first of all, don't give Maxi Law Nidalee. That was a good learning curve. But like, I mean, from scrims and like from games and stuff like that, like, I remember there's an interview with Yankos somewhere where he's like talking about Faker. And like Faker said this one like famous quote where it's like, the difference between like Europe and Korea is Europe doesn't know how to lose. So, you know, like European teams and stuff like that, like we allow ourselves to, you know, we get tilted, you know, we get annoyed, we don't want to talk about the horrendous loss that we shouldn't have lost. But Korean teams will like look at the loss and they'll be like, you know, what can we take from it? Like, you know, what did we do wrong that we can't do next time? You know, like they don't. Like, as far as I know, like they really don't let it affect themselves nearly to the level that European players do, or like other region players do. So like we're on this kind of mindset that whenever we lose, you know, it's a case of, you know, 5 minutes, kind of burn off the kind of like frustration, and then like just kind of like discuss it. So like we've had like games where like in scrims and like even in second division Spain where we like horrendously lost when we shouldn't have done, and it's just like, I feel like we discussed it as a team, you know, like I point out what I believe, but like they also like, I have this thing with my players where it's a case of I don't allow my players to like keep things to themselves. So if Dan's pissed off with the support, you know, like if it's like, you know, why'd you do that? Like I try and make sure that my players like tell each other, you know.
Yeah. And
like that the communication is good and stuff like that. So like whenever we lose, like I make sure everyone's like open about what they thought about the game. I'm open about what I thought about the game, and like it's more a case of like, we talk and we make sure that we take as much as we can from every single game that we play, whether it's a win or a loss. We try and learn as much as we possibly can from every game.
That's a really good answer, mate. So last couple here, Best UK ADC said, what did you say to your team in Game 5 of Ragnarok?
Well, I'd say this was more of a done thing than me, but you've seen Lord of the Rings, yeah?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
You know the Blackgate speech?
Is that in the third one?
I believe so. It's like he does like the huge speech before they like charge it. Yeah,
I think I remember it.
Yeah. Dan did that speech before we started Game 5.
Oh, hang on, no, that's the second one, isn't it? When they're under attack and they're pinned in.
I can't remember which one's which. They blur. But yeah, like Dan did the Lord of the Rings speech just before Game 5, and like I like referee, like our referee from it, like absolutely loved it, and like he jumped straight onto Twitter after, and he was like back and forth with Dan on Twitter like straight after.
Can you send me those Twitter links, because I know this is the journalist in me. The light bulb's gone off in my head. I think that'd be quite a funny, quite a cool story to write that, you know.
Yeah,
write an article on that someone used a Lord of the Rings speech, and it worked.
Yeah. But like he broke out the Blackgate speech and just just hyped up the team. Like it was more like jokingly anyway, but
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it was a great moment.
But that's a long speech, isn't it? How long was he? What, he knows
No,
that off the top of his head?
it's like a minute long. Like yeah, he knows it off the top of his head. He's like that.
Goodness. Okay, cool. Well, that's pretty cool. And then we've got last question from Scottish Warriors. What type of hairspray do you use?
I don't know. I know it's strength 5. I know it's like the strongest hairspray you can get. Like this stuff doesn't move. It's just solid.
Enjoy it while you can, mate. You know, like
Oh.
for me, the only positive I can take is I don't need to buy hairspray or look into what types of hairspray I need. You know, because I've got nothing up there. But okay, cool. You've been a great sport, Alex. Thank you very much for your time. It's been a great chat. Thanks for everyone who's watching. I'm going to stick this video on YouTube, and I'll probably do an article or two over the weekend, just pulling out some of your key quotes and things about you know, how you think you're going to do in the Challenger Series qualifiers and things like that. I'll be back same time next week, 6 PM till 7 PM, maybe going on for longer next week. We'll see, on this Twitch channel next week. I think it's not 100% confirmed yet, but I'll be looking to be getting coached by Tundra. So, you know, Tundra teaches Silver Sacco Scrub, something like that. It's going to be quite painful because I was in Silver 4 and I dropped down to Silver 5. And, yeah, Tundra can be honest if you know him in the UK scene. So, I'm looking forward to it, and I'm not looking forward to it because I think I'm going to get roasted. But that might be something a bit different, guys, rather than another interview. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch all you guys soon. And thanks again, Alex, for taking part.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Cheers.